Hey, Fred, how you doing? Oh, wait, I gotta go back over here first. I gotta do this, and then this, and then this. Yep, I think that's everything. All right. Are we ready? Believe we are. Here we go. Kerbal. Little Kerbal space program. It's not. You know, I was going to do Kerbal today. I had my mind all made up. I'm fantastic, Fred. I'm having a wonderful day. I was going to do some Kerbal today, and we were going to rescue our Kerbals because at the end of the last stream we had, let me see, I had screwed up. I had left the lunar orbiter in orbit around the moon, and I had left 2 Kerbals in it. I'm sorry, no, I left 1 Kerbal in it, and then the capsule I did bring back to Earth orbit. I couldn't land it, and we had 2 Kerbals stuck in there. So what I was going to do was build a rocket with an empty capsule on it, send it up, get the 2 Kerbals out of orbit, then send the whole thing to the moon and get that Kerbal, and then bring them all back to Earth. That was the plan. But when I fired up the game, because if you saw that stream, we were kind of bugged out at the end. And when I went back to the save game today, just the oldest save game, or the youngest save game, I don't know, the most recent one, the one from the end of the stream, we hadn't even left lunar orbit yet. So I think when the game bugged out, it was not allowing me to save. So everybody was still around the moon. I did dock those 2 and get everybody into the same vessel, the same vehicle. But the idea of, you know, I don't know. I just wanted to do this. I had a really good time in this stream yesterday. I had a really good time playing with the Grima stuff. So I did get everything cleaned up. I got all our seed pallets put away. I got our liquid fertilizer pallets put away. Or I guess those are IBCs, not pallets. I palletized all the potatoes that were in the truck, in the trailer here. And those are, carefully, those are all stacked up right there. These are 3,500 apiece. No, they're 1,700 apiece. So that would be 2, 4, 6, 7, about 21. Stan, what's happening? So that's about, I don't know, 20 plus thousand liters of potatoes. I figure we'll use those when we get some pigs going, but I'm not going to palletize anything else. I really did enjoy the DLC yesterday. Potatoes, they're not for me, but I did enjoy the Grima DLC. So what I did was I leased, well, you saw that big self-propelled potato harvester. That's up at field, let me see, field 27. That's up at field 27. You brought the game now? Oh, you mean like you're bringing the game, like you're bringing your A game, or did you buy Farm Sim? I don't know. Chat lacks nuance sometimes. I got that big old self-propelled Grima, and I figure we'll knock those fields out with that. And what I want to do is we'll work a little bit manually till we have some room to make turns, and then we'll put that on a worker, and we'll continue kind of servicing it with this trailer. But we've still got some lime to throw down. We can throw that down with the JCB, and we've still got some fields to fertilize. You bought Farm Sim? Hell yeah, man. Which one did you get, 17 or 19? So we can get everything fertilized today, I think. We can get lime on everything. And then these potato fields, I was thinking we could convert those over, right? At least get them, they've been subsoiled. Yep, so they're good to go there. Maybe we can get some manure on them or some compost or something and get that cultivated in and see if that takes care of our first layer of fert for precision farming. Because I really think that, I mean, it says, precision farming says they prefer, or the soil prefers, like soil has a preference, you know what I mean, that it works better if you go with slurry or manure or digestate before you seed and then chemical fert after you seed. I don't know, man. Can you code that in? You can code anything in. Put it in the Lua. But that was, from my reading of the instructions, that was what I got. I did get a tip about Proseed. They said if you get the one from GitHub, that it works and you won't have the problem with the menu. I took a look. I downloaded the one from GitHub, and as far as I can tell, it's the same. It's the same version. what's happening is because I'm on dual monitor now, it's putting the menu at the coordinates of my right side monitor, like the lower right side of my right side monitor, but that's not where the game is. So I just need to reposition it manually, I think. I don't know. Do we need to... nope, pipe's already out. Okay. So let's back this thing up. Ah. Yeah, did you get it through Steam? Or did you get it as a standalone? If you got it as a standalone, you have to install it yourself. If you got it through Steam, it should download automatically through the DLC manager. Yeah, this pipe is always extended. Doesn't need to be manually extended. Okay, I think you may need to go to the Giant site. I don't know how DLC works through the Xbox store, but I think you may need to go to the Giant site and manually download that DLC. Then you'll activate it, and it should find the folder that it wants to go into, but you may need to put that folder in manually. Right, so let's get just a little bit more room to turn, because this thing is ridiculously long. So let's get a little bit more room to turn on the two ends of the field here, and then we'll put it on an AI worker. I mean, I guess we could put it on... No, let's wait. Let's do it right. And then once this field is done, this small field, then this big field next door, that one we're definitely going to put this on AI. Even if we put it on course play and have it go over some areas that aren't planted, there's no way I'm doing that manually. That field is big. All right. Right up here. As I was getting everything fired up, I saw, just kind of going past as I was doing things, I saw the Straw Harvest go past. Now, Straw Harvest was made by Aerosoft. I bought a bunch of airports, I told you, for X-Plane. And it's amazing how many of them are really, really bad. Like, really bad. You got to read the reviews on those before you buy them. It's amazing. I think, if I understand this correctly, X-Plane 10 content does work in X-Plane 11. So I think some of these airports, you can see they were released in like 2015 and 2016. And X-Plane 11 was released in 2017. So I think some of those airports that you're buying are for X-Plane 10, and they haven't really been worked on since. So I've learned you got to be very, very careful. Some of those airports, like I bought them. I bought an airport, and base game looks better than payware. LOL. So learn my lesson. On the aircraft, on the payware aircraft, those I've been luckier with, and I think the reason is because they're current, or they're more current. You can see that they've been updated like late 2020, mid 2020, so they're definitely being worked on. Oh, right on. Good deal, Fried. Now, did you say you've played it before? Like, you got it last summer and you played it, but then you uninstalled? I know I did that. I don't know if other people did that as well. I'm thinking about reinstalling it. Because I know X-Plane, whoa, easy. I know X-Plane is where it's at for commercial flight and jetliners, but I do think Microsoft Flight Simulator is a lot prettier. Played 2 times. Yeah, I played, I'd say about 100 hours, 100 plus hours. Had to step away from it. X-Plane, at the moment, is better for commercial airliners, and I think it always will be. I don't know if... I mean, like all studios now, I feel like Asobo and Microsoft are going to kind of count on modders to come up with payware aircraft. So that's going to be your study grade for Microsoft Flight Simulator, I think. I don't know if they're ever going to be study grade... Well, there probably would never be study grade native aircraft. But even, halfway. Split the difference. Okay, now did you activate it in your mods? When you when you start your game and it asks you what mods do you want to use, are you turning it on there? I mean, if you got it in game, you're halfway there. But then when you create your save game, like when you pick your map, you'll need to activate it there as well. Yeah, I mean, I feel the same way about general aviation. That was all I really flew. I flew the Baron and the King Air when I was into Flight Sim before, and that was it. I was never really into jets. And then when Flight Simulator 20 dropped, I did some flights. I did some GA flights, and it was, I'm not saying I blame him, but Owen from the Discord said you should try to fly the Airbus, right? Try to fly the 320. Or the 74, I don't know. One of the big jets. He said you should try to fly that. All right. And I haven't really been back to, well, that's what put me on the X-Plane side. And then I haven't been back to Flight Sim since. No, I think you can activate any mod for any career, Stan. I'm almost positive on that. But how you start, if this is your first time playing Farm Sim, you can just kind of sandbox it the first time and get a feeling for how everything works. So once you build your character and everything, you only have to build it once, but once you build your character, then I think on the next screen, that's where you pick your mods. This thing is, it's too big. Here's your problem. This thing is just too big. So I did like, I like is it the DA62? I like the DA62 and the Skyhawk, of course, classic. I really like the X-Cub. And I was having a great time flying those around. I mean, VFR, I don't think anything can beat VFR in Flight Sim. I don't think anything will beat it for quite a while. I think it's what they've done as far as how they're using technology and how they're using the downloads and everything. That's amazing. I don't think anything's going to come near that for a long time. But once I got into a jet, because I got the fly-by-wire. I got the fly-by-wire. It's like a whole checklist with all the mods. Okay. If it's got a tick by the box, then it is in game. And you should see it when you start your save game. If the box is ticked, you should see it. I don't know what kind of mods you've downloaded, but Farm Sim is kind of famous for mod conflict. So as you start downloading more and more mods, be aware that that can cause problems in game if you get too many mods going at once. They're not, sir. There's no inbuilt mechanism. It was turned off. There's no inbuilt mechanism to prevent mod conflict, so the game will let you load mods that will then not work with one another or cause the game to crash. So that's when Reddit really helps out. I found Reddit to be a great source for stuff like that. Yep, exactly. And it'll have the mod content. I'm sorry, the DLC content will have like orange text underneath it that will indicate that is part of a DLC. That's for any DLC. I've been doing it so long now, I forget this game does have a bit of a learning curve. Like thinking back to 15 when I was trying to figure out what to do and how to make money and various. Let's just go down the other side. It's quick enough to just deadhead across the top. So many mod conflicts. Yeah, courseplay is... I have kind of a love-hate thing with courseplay. It is amazing. Man, if the next Farm Sim like the next title in the franchise, has some type of a native advanced AI like Courseplay, that's it. That's it. If they continue to expand out on Precision Farming DLC and they can bring in some type of sophisticated AI, I think Cattle and Crops it's a deader. It's a goner. And I mean, I want everybody to succeed, but that's not how capitalism works. It's one of the unspoken rules of capitalism is destruction. So I don't want Cattle and Crops to fail as a franchise or as a crew, but if Giants can bring some of the Cattle and Crops, I don't know, stuff into Farm Sim, in the same way that Dead Stick, I don't know if Dead Stick's ever going to be released now, because the Bush Pilot, I don't know, flights, what's the word we're looking for? The bush flying aspect of Flight Simulator is so strong, even though it doesn't have an economic component to it. It's just so pretty, and it's a lot of fun. I don't know if Dead Stick's even going to be released now. Yeah, and I feel like Courseplay, as the game progresses, Courseplay is getting, not worse and worse, but yeah, worse and worse. I don't think it's the devs doing it or the modders. I think the game is just evolving, and it's becoming more and more difficult to make Courseplay work with it. It doesn't seem like it works as well as it did. I mean, I saw people do amazing things in 15 with Courseplay, and I could do some things in 15 and 17, but it seems like in 19, it's really, the scope of Courseplay is really limited now. And I don't know if it's because the game is changing or evolving or something's happening. But I feel like, I mean, if you want to sort of stretch out and be working at different tasks, different parts of the map, Courseplay is kind of required. Because once you get a big map going with a dozen fields, you can't really do it all yourself and still have time moving. You know what I mean? It's just too much work for one person. I see that in GitHub. Every time I go to the mod hub, there's an update for Courseplay. So I don't think the modders are slacking. When I said, they're not keeping up, whoa, easy. When I said they're not keeping up, I didn't mean that, they're doing anything wrong or they've like lost their touch or anything. I think it's just, the game is just different now than it was in 15. And these potatoes here that are on the ground, I'm just going to turn those under. I'm not going to mess with those. And this thing's filling up quick. All right, so right there. Yeah, I agree with you, Fried. I feel like, when you first start out, if you want to do a proper career save, when you first start out, you're very small and you got a 150 horsepower tractor, sort of where we are on Western Shore right now. You've got more time than there is work to do. You're speeding up time so that there can be more work to do. But I feel like once you get a dozen fields, once things really start growing, then that's when you run out of time. Now it's going to spawn at the store, Stan. What map are you on? Wherever the store is, that's where it will spawn. You can fast travel to the store, but that's where your stuff will be. Unless you get the store delivery mod, but until you get that, you have to fast travel to the store. I don't know if this is the way it's done in real life with a field this narrow. I'm no fan of three-point turns. I don't know why. I don't know what the three-point turn ever did to me. I just don't like three-point turns. And with this thing being as long as it is, it's sort of a perfect excuse not to do any. But we'll just keep nibbling away at the sides of this. And then for this field over there, think, yeah, we'll put it on course play, see how it holds up. And I'll mess with proceed afterwards. See if I can get that working. Man, X-Plane, I have heavily modded X-Plane now. And it's, I guess I just think of flight simulators as being like more sophisticated. So it's weird that the modding in, like when it comes to scenery, the modding in X-Plane is sort of grassroots. Right? Like you've got to go in and manually drop things in with exclamation points or Z's because you need things to load in a certain order. It reminds me of old school truck sim, right? Before they had the new load order where you had to put Z's in front of things that you wanted to load later. And farm sim used to be that way as well. You had to throw a bunch of Z's on if you wanted something to load after everything else. So there's a lot of overwriting in the scenery folder. I've got a scenery enhancements pack, and I've got a numbers pack. So all the signage at airports, like all the numbers that are on the pavement, and then all the signs that tell you where the taxiways are and where the runways are and what gates are. I have some high def packs like that, and if you don't put them in the right place, whatever signage comes with the airport, that's what you see. So you have to like put those things in first. But when I was trying to get those airports sorted out, I could not figure out why they looked so bad. So I found multiple threads on load order in X-Plane. And I did get everything ultimately in the right load order. It's just that those airports look terrible. They really do, man. When I saw that they were released in 2015, it's buyer beware. You know, you live and learn. And it wasn't that expensive a mistake. But when you realize that a product was released 5 years ago, 6 years ago now, for a different game, it's in the franchise, and it will, X-Plane 10 content will, I guess, work sometimes on X-Plane 11, but I feel, I have to say, a little duped by some of these devs, because that, I don't know, maybe that's why I'm not running my own business, but I would probably want to put in a lot bigger letters that this is made years ago for X-Plane 10. But I think, ultimately get it worked out, and I'm happy with the result that I have now. The main airport that I wanted, or the main several airports that I wanted fixed were Gatwick and Glasgow, because I fly there a lot. I never did find a good Amsterdam. I tried several. Sigh. And I also got a good Manchester. I got a good Belfast. And I got a Cardiff, and I got an Edinburgh. What kind of farming you want to do, Stan? Man, I keep missing when we get full. I keep missing that. What kind of farming you want to do, Stan? And what map are you on? As quick as this thing fills up, I mean, I was hoping best money crop is typically, if you're in base game, best money crop is typically canola or soybean, maybe sunflower seeds. But if you go to, are you on PC or Xbox? If you're on a gamepad, it's going to be select, I think. Hang on. Yeah, the, I don't know, right side mini button. I always forget which is start and which is select. But you'll tap that, and then if you okay, so tap your right mini button, and then bumper button till you see the crop prices. I may not be describing it right, but basically you want, so you'll go right mini button, that'll take you into this screen, right? And then use your shoulder buttons till you get to this screen, and that will tell you what crops are selling for. Yeah, exactly. That's a great point, Fried. I didn't even think to mention that. So anytime you, let me get turned around here. Anytime you go to use a piece of equipment, so like if you want to cultivate before you plant your crops, you look at cultivators, right? This one is 100 horsepower, 120 horsepower, 130, 220, etc., all the way across, right? So if you know what the horsepower requirement is, then when you look at tractors, then you can see 100 horsepower, right? 115, 105. So if you sort of plan out like what crops you think you're going to be growing and what equipment you anticipate using, then that will sort of give you an idea what kind of horsepower you want. And it makes sense sometimes to either lease equipment or to just not go crazy on the tractor. I mean, it's definitely fun to use massive equipment, but if you spend all your money on the tractor, then you're not going to have any money left for anything else that you need to do. But, and I mean, I'm not telling you how to play the game by any means. I'm not telling you how to play the game by any means, but right through here, just, I don't know, money seems to run out very quickly. You start with a lot and then it just seems to all go away. Either match it or exceed it, but you'll need to use a lot of different types of equipment. So again, if you wanted to put in soybeans, so we would go, if you want to put in soybeans, you're going to put those in with a planter. So let's say you wanted to use the Lemkin. So that's 110 horsepower. And then your cultivator, you could go with this one at 120. Fertilizer spreader, something like this. No horsepower requirement for that. What else would we need? A weeder. Where's my weeders at? There we go. Why am I not seeing weeders? Cultivators. There they are. 80, 95, 120. So all of that equipment that I'm looking at for a small soybean operation is 120 horsepower, so I might go 130 or 150 just so I have a little bit of a cushion. Caden, how you doing, man? And I'm told in the UK where this map is, I'm told that farmers dump crops on the floor of barns. So that's what we're going to do here. Good, good. Hey, I got for X-Plane, open. Really? What's happening right now? There we go. I'm fantastic. And I got, for X-Plane, I got the TOLUS Airbus 319, the TOLUS Airbus 321, the Flight Factor 757, I think you saw that one, and the Flight Factor 767. I went crazy. And then you saw I got the MD-80. I'm loving X-Plane. Oh, really? It says we can't unload here. Are we unloading? Yeah, we are. Okay. For a minute it said we couldn't unload. So the 757 and the 767 have shared cockpit methodology, and the 319 and the 321 do as well. And the workflow I noticed for the 757 and 767 is really similar to the 73. So I'm doing okay with those. Airbus is like a whole different animal, man. Completely different than anything Boeing makes. But I figure if I could learn to fly that old MD-80, I can figure out the Airbus. I've done a couple flights, and it's not that bad. And the checklist is really good, but it's definitely a very different flow than anything by Boeing. A drying floor. I know some of these, this may or may not have it, I know some of these structures on UK maps have you can see the great big fans. I don't know if they use like heating elements or dehumidifiers or what to dry grain, but I know some of the models actually have like you can see that they're trying to convey that this is a barn used for drying. Seven right, seven left. I don't think I've ever, because I'm either on, well, I'm not on live ATC anymore because I'm off VATSIM, but I use AI ATC, and they always put me on the west-facing runways, the 2.4s or the 2.5s. I feel like, and anytime I've ever landed at LAX in real life, you're always landing to the west. Land to the west, take off to the west. I think it's just because of that wind coming in off the ocean. All right, so this field, I think what's left in this little field we can fit into this trailer. Also use silos for grain. Yeah, that's what I'm told. I mean, I guess it works. They're going to be cleaned again. It's not like they're just going straight to somebody's table from the floor, but that's the first time I heard that just seems so, I don't know. I don't want to say unsanitary, but you know what I mean? I always think food or crops that are going to become food, I always think they need to be taken care of better than they are. I mean, once they get processed and everything, then yeah, they're clean and sanitary and everything, but like early days, it just gets all thrown around everywhere. Nope, you can grow any crop anytime you want in-game, Stan. Flight Radar 24. I don't have it, but now I'm curious. I want to look it up. What's that do? All right, let's get turned around here. Yeah, exactly. There's no XP or anything. You don't need to level up to anything. You can do anything that you can afford to do in the game. You can do anytime you want. Oh, right on. Like FlightAware. So I found a site called SimAware. Yeah, that sounds about right. It's called SimAware, and it has all the VATSIM controllers that are active and all the VATSIM pilots that are in the air. Yeah, if you just want to sandbox it to like figure out what you're doing, see if you can find a money cheat and just give yourself like 10 million and experiment with all the equipment and just kind of, I don't know, get a feel for the game. It seems simple, and I know the first time I saw people playing it on YouTube, I thought, well, that's, you know, anybody could do that. And there's a lot of, there's layers to it. It's definitely, if you want to play it realistically, if you want to try to like actually make money, it can be really, really difficult, but in a good way. So we've got, I'd say maybe 2 more lengths here, 2 or 3, and then we can head on over to that other field. And I think in the time that it takes, if we go over there and get started, in the time that it takes to get there and then come back and get the trailer, I think this thing might be full already. We'll empty it before we head over there, but I may or may not be able to get a lot of that fertilizing done. But we can always take a break. Like if this thing runs into a post or something and stops, maybe we'll just let it stop. Wherever it stops, we'll let it stay there. Move on to some other stuff and then come back to it. Try to mix it up a little bit. When I was prepping for the potato episode, I did that, and I don't typically do that. Normally I just focus on one thing till it's 100% done. But I was sort of, I don't know, mixing it up. Not my typical playstyle, but I did enjoy it. Interesting. I didn't know that. I like that they brought in some of the Bank of Haagen-Dazs features into 19 as far as being able to buy and sell fields. I think it makes perfect sense that if you have to buy like small, inexpensive property to start with, that as your income grows and you have enough money to buy bigger fields, that you can buy bigger fields and then get rid of the little ones. So you'd either be stuck small fields, you'd be stuck farming small fields after you own big fields, or you could just leave them fallow, and that's a waste of money. Pontus, what's happening? How you doing? Very carefully get turned around here. You know what? This thing is at 97%. Let's just go ahead back and this is a self-propelled potato harvester. And it is made by Grima, but it's not part of the DLC. Whoa, hang on. But so I have two monitors now, and since I got the two monitors going, every now and then my main monitor just goes black. A difficult name? Tell me why. Every now and then one of my main monitor just goes black for like 1 second. And it's something like Farm Sim. It did it just now as we were pulling into the truck. Not really that big a deal, but if you're racing or something, it's terrible. And I haven't found any particular reason why it happens. I've looked, and of course you get the shouty people. It seems like anytime you ask a technical question online, you get these very shouty answers. And so I saw a lot of people shouting that it's because your power source isn't powerful enough. And then other people responded like, well, I've got a 1400 watt platinum running a GTX 2080. I think I'm okay on my power source. So apparently that's just something that happens with NVIDIA cards. It can happen with some NVIDIA cards. Yeah, I've heard cables. I've heard a lot of things. I've tried everything, and nothing that I'm doing is seeming to help it. I think it could be the monitor itself. I don't have great monitors. I don't run like Sony curved monitors or anything. I've got definitely pretty cheap monitors. They're new. They're just not very expensive. So it could be the monitor itself. Could be something to do with refresh rate. But it happens even when I'm not gaming. Like I'll just be, working on, I don't know, downloading mods or something that's not graphically demanding whatsoever, and it'll still just kind of black out for a second. No idea why. It is something that happens, but I've heard everything from cables, like you suggested, to drivers, to that's just something NVIDIA does, and there's nothing you can do about it. So I'll try to figure it out, or I'll use it as an excuse to buy a whole new system. Yeah, I've got, like most people, we want to fold this up. Yeah, let's fold this up. Like most people, I've got a drawer full of HDMI cables. And man, I used to get like the braided ones with the gold plugs on them and the reinforced 90-degree angle and the whole deal. I don't do that anymore. I get it for like $7.99 now. I was never able to spot a difference. I'm trying to think if Aldi is even in the US yet. I mean, Walmart, same thing. Yeah, I'll swap out the cables. Aldi's here? Okay. Not in my town, but I'll take a look around. I definitely got a Walmart. Whoa, easy, sir. But I've got plenty of HDMI. I just need to go swap some out. Yeah, you know, at the other end of that equation, Fried, there's a company that makes cables that are $2,000 a piece. Sorry about your body work there, sir. Thought I was over far enough. Now this traffic is a little bit better than Sandy Bay, but it's not great. Yep, I've got it bookmarked. I can't remember the name of the company offhand, but yeah, they make, their cables are thousands of dollars. I mean, I think at a certain point, you're just kind of showing off. You're not fooling anybody. Speed cameras, yeah, I learned my lesson on Sandy Bay. Many thousands. Many thousands, like 2 and 3 and 4,000. It's supposed to be worth it if you're into like professional production, audio and video, but I think for my uses, it would not, it just wouldn't matter. Oh, the way that they're made, they're braided in a way that has zero interference, and I mean, it could be a scam. It could just be some, I don't know, foo-foo science, right? It sounds like real science. It's not real science. I don't know. But, I mean, they definitely look cool. They look very tech. All right, so if I think we're just going to need to open this field up, I think we're just going to need to kind of gnaw away at the entrance here until we have a little bit of room to turn. Yeah, I don't know, man. I've been on I think the first map that I was on like that was Coldborough Park, and it just makes you wonder why. Why would you do that? I don't know. It takes me out of the immersion. I find it to be kind of a buzzkill. And can we clear this thing? Oh, just barely. Ah, driving a self-propelled potato harvester like a two-door Honda. Yeah, I think so as well. Unless you can really demonstrate a difference and why it matters, I think it's just, you're just kind of showing off, which is fine. Showing off is fun. I will admit it. But, you know, be reasonable. Yeah, I mean, I used to be into high-end audio, and Lin, I mean, you can buy a $8,000 CD player from Lin, Adcom, and companies like that. You can spend unbelievable amounts of money on audio, and people can't tell the difference. So it is real, right? Like the idea of minimizing distortion and interference, that is real. I just don't know how many people can actually notice that, right? And how many people just want you to think they can notice it. Yeah, I think that's going to be another big step for Giants when they are able to... We're going to clear this tree? Yep. When Giants are able to have AI traffic that feels natural. And I don't know if they'll be able to do that. I don't know if they'll be able to do it ever, because SCS hasn't really pulled it off. And they make a driving simulator. So I think it's definitely a difficult thing to do. We are kind of making a mess of this, I have to say. But the potato harvester, she is a fickle beast. There we go. Yeah, That's a good point. I think modders find things in game code that the developers can't find, and that is, I would be so mad if I was a dev and a modder fixed my game for me. Can we sneak past this tree? Yes. No. We're on the struggle bus today. Let's get around here. There we go. All right. The farms? You mean like the yards? Yeah. And the thing is, I don't know how they would go about coding that, because so much of driving is sort of non-linear. You know, like courtesy. Courtesy is not really something that you can necessarily break down into like mathematical terms, and if it's code, it's got to be math. So I feel like it's really tricky to code traffic. Like, it's almost easier to code race traffic in a racing sim or racing game, because everybody's just trying to go as fast as possible. But in a driving game, like a citizen driving game, you're not necessarily trying to go as fast as you can. You may be trying to go slow at various times. So trying to code that's got to be tricky. Yeah. Yeah, that's I feel like that's Frontier Design, so that would be Oxygen David and Bullet Bill. I personally like some of that stuff, but there are times I could do without it. Like the milk trigger. I would like if you could turn the milk trigger on and off. I would like if you could turn the manure spawning in the barn on and off. Because when you get like 60 or 80 cows, you know, I don't want to have to constantly be mucking out. I'd like to turn that over to a worker for me to have time to do other things, right? Rather than just constantly mucking out like 10 or 12 or 15,000 liters of poo per day. I don't want to do that. Yeah, I wouldn't say unfinished. I mean, I'm not disagreeing with you, but that's their design style. And as much as I do like Bullet Bill and Oxygen David maps, there are some things about them. Well, I mean, I guess I could change them, go in and edit them out myself. But yeah, there's some stuff that if I was building the map, I would do it a little differently. All right, so we're going to continue working on our headland here. And we do have enough room now that we can get the trailer in underneath the pipe here. All right, making progress. And you know what? Let's do something here. We'll go grab the trailer. We'll bring it over here and empty this thing out, and then we'll go spread lime for a bit. We'll do something a little different, just to mix it up. All right. So we'll leave that right there. All right. And where's our trailer? Yeah, Foxy, I think the economy in this game is... I understand that the economies in video games need to be distorted a little bit, or the game would be unplayable. But I feel like it's way too easy to make money with silage and way too hard to make money with potatoes. We're getting a little bit of stutter right there. What's that all about? I'd like to see a little bit more balance. Right? That either you make similar money from all crops, or if there are crops that pay out really, really well, like silage or something, that you do need to level up to that. And they made it a little harder in 19 because you do have to buy your own pit. Or your own BGA, rather. You do have to buy your own BGA. So I think that makes it a little harder. Because you need to make that big investment before you can start selling silage. But you can always make silage bales and just sell those. And those are really good money. So, I don't know. I would like to see a little bit more balance in the economy. I know some modders are trying to do that. Well, they always have been. But it's like, how do you make the game not a sandbox, but still fun? And see, I think it should be based on time, because potatoes take forever. They're so slow, and all the equipment is so expensive. I think that's why nobody messes with potatoes. Because it's slow, and you don't make a lot of money from it. Why would you mess with them? Very carefully. Perfect. And it's fun stuff to play with. The potato stuff, the sugar beet stuff, it is fun to play with. It's different. But I feel like you just don't make any money with it. You know, so why do it? All right. Yeah, same. I can't justify. And even, where is it? Is it the, what's it under? It's going to be under beet technology. Yeah, the mouse. The mouse is 400 grand, and all it does is like gather up root crops. You can use it for sugar beets or potatoes, I think. But it's like, I don't really know what it does. Where are we going? Where are we? We're going this way. I don't really know what the mouse does, but 400 grand, that's ridiculous. Sound revamp. Okay, I'll check that out. So we want to hop in the class first off. Yeah, it's an odd name for that thing. I don't know why it's called a mouse. Yeah, we're getting a lot of chug right through. I think it's because we're looking straight down toward the farm. I don't like chug in my games. All right. All right, so we'll go get, let's do the lime spreader first, because I think we've got 2 fields, 3 fields. But let's just drop this off at the farm. Class DLC? I think so. I mean, if you're thinking about multiple DLC, just get the season pass. Yeah, there you go. Pondus knows. Just get the season pass and you get everything that's already been released and everything that's going to be released. So bumpy down through there. Yeah, I really like the class DLC. And I would say the Anderson is probably my least favorite. I don't even understand what that one's about. All right, so we'll get this thing parked up. Yep, I'm liking the Cavernaland as well. I like the Alpine Farming DLC. I think there's some interesting equipment in there. All right, so we'll park that up. It's different. It was fun to try out some of the tractors, but like the electric tractor, that didn't really do it for me. But I like some of the, I guess, haymaking equipment. All right, and where's our lime spreader? Off the top of my head, I don't remember. Yeah. And I think they said there's going to be more DLC this year. They've got a few more planned. There's our lime spreader. Beautiful. As it stands right now, I think if you total up the price of all the DLC that they've currently released, it's less than $29.99, and then there is more DLC on the way. I mean, I'm not trying to sell you anything. I don't mean it like that. Just the math of it. So if we go here now, and here, so we're going to be spreading lime, and that is here. So I think it's just these two fields, 3.6 and 3.4. All right, so to get here now, we go, I think the quickest way is down through the yard to get to these two. Okay. All DLC would be 70 pounds? Yeah. I think it's a good deal. You know, when I get a game, if I get a title, and particularly if I get DLC for it, if I've got money invested in a game like Race Room. Race Room, I own every piece of content for Race Room. Seriously, every piece of content. And I don't play it enough, and I feel terrible about it. Where do we want this thing? I need to get it somewhere out of the way. Same with iRacing. I don't spend nearly enough time in iRacing for the money that I've spent on it. And I feel really, really bad. So right here, I mean, does this work? Right about here. Confirm. Cannot be undone. All right, done. Foxy, you mean you've got content, but you don't necessarily use it? I feel terrible when I realize that. It makes me want to play games that, I wouldn't say that I don't like them, but just that I'm not really into at any given moment. I'm playing a ton of X-Plane right now. Probably too much X-Plane. And I'm not really spending any time in DCS, but I've got a ton of content for DCS. So it's the same thing. It's like, I mean, it's a flight sim, and I've got money invested in it. I should probably play it. So at a certain point, I think you just can't keep up with your library. Yep. Now, the nice thing is, though, those games are always there. I finally uninstalled Project Cars 2, and that was kind of a strange feeling because that was like my first love when I got back into gaming as far as racing goes. I really did think that was an amazing race sim. And I've sort of evolved since then, but I got a soft spot for it. The cars are amazing. The graphics are really, really immersive. The historical content is amazing. It's a great game. I just needed the space because it's 60 gig, and I never play it. I'm either in iRacing or R Factor or Assetto Corsa Competizione or F1 2020. So it's tough. It really is. You know, to know that you invested time and money in a title and you just don't play it anymore. I've had Assetto Corsa, original Assetto Corsa. I've had that uninstalled for quite a while. So I think this field right here, yeah, this is 3.6. So this one's going to get lime. Oh, and we need to spray for weeds too. Can't drive with a controller. You know, that's the only way I drove back in the day. And I thought I was driving. But I came to find out, once I got a wheel, I came to realize that you can play a lean-back arcade racer with a gamepad. And I know there are people that can be very, very fast with a gamepad, but I think if you want to really get into race sim, you've got to get a wheel. Yeah, I'd say probably about 500 hours, if I had to guess. And most of that was in iRacing. But it gets to a point where you're studying real-world books about performance driving and precision driving and using real world techniques. They're accurate enough. Modern racing sims are accurate enough that you can use real world techniques and they will make you faster. PC setup, I'm on an i7 9900K with GTX 1660 Ti, 32 gig of 3200 RAM, and liquid cooler on the CPU. I'm trying to think what else. Yep, and like a 1000 watt power source. Yeah, Race Room is great because you only have to buy what you want. The game itself is free, like literally free. Race Room is free. You can go download it for free right now, and you only have to buy the content that you want. So if you don't even have to buy a whole class. If there's a particular GT3 car that you want, you just buy that car. And when you race either online or single player, all the other cars will be there. You're not racing against cars identical to yours. But you seriously only have to buy the car that you want, the specific model and livery that you want. And then tracks. You buy whatever tracks you'd like to race on. But it's super, super economical because you're only buying what you want. I think Race Room is a sim. I mean, in order from top to bottom, I'd say iRacing is at the top. And R Factor is right underneath it. I know some people would probably reverse those. They say R Factor is a little bit more accurate as far as physics than iRacing. But iRacing, and then R Factor, and then Race Room. I said, of course, a Competizione, and then after that, it sort of drops off. Yeah, I think Race Room is trapped because of the content. They've sold people hundreds and hundreds of dollars of content, and so they're reluctant to move to a new franchise. I think that's the same thing that SCS is going through right now, that people have invested so much money and they have a good relationship with their audience, so they don't want to be Dovetail, basically, and say, you spent all this money, too bad, now you got to spend it again. Yep, I played it originally on controller, and it's definitely fun, but I think, your lap times are going to drop like 10 seconds, 15 seconds per lap once you get on a wheel. Yeah, I mean, get Race Room. It comes with basic content, but you can at least get a feel for it. Decide whether or not it's going to be a good fit for you. Yeah, EA needs to. They've got a terrible reputation. I feel like Ubisoft is kind of headed down that same road. All right, and our lime station is, I believe, right over here. And I don't know why I like the drone cam so much in Farm Sim. For Race Room, yeah, you only have to get what you want. Now you do get a deal. There's definitely a deal if you buy stuff in bulk. You can get like packages and stuff. That's how I ended up with everything, because you do save money if you buy a lot of stuff at once. So I just did it that way. All right, so we'll fill this thing up. How are we doing on time? Oh, not bad. Yeah, well, it depends on which ones you buy, because I know Ubisoft they've always got like a gold edition that's $125. I know this because that's the edition of Breakpoint that I bought, and I wanted to throw myself out the window after I found out how terrible that game was. All right, so we'll close our cover. We're just going to turn around in our neighbor's field here. You know what, though? Just wait for stuff to go on sale. I've been so disappointed by so many titles in 2019 and 2020. The only reason I buy stuff on day one anymore is for the channel. If I didn't have the channel, I would wait and get that stuff when it's like 80% off. Right? Division 2 was on sale right around Christmas for like $12 or something. Yeah, Fried. I do think it's all Assassin's Creed. I feel like it's all running on the same code. It's all just a kind of an RPG shooter. And I saw somebody doing a review of Assassin's Creed Valhalla, and they were like, "Can we get rid of the Aspergo stuff? Can we get rid of the cutscenes where the person is in the I don't know what that thing is, the memorizer, whatever that thing is in Assassin's Creed where you live someone else's memories? Nobody even cares about that stuff." I mean, a lot of people, I don't think they care about lore in games at all. But in something like Assassin's Creed, you just care about the lore in the game. You don't care about the Aspergo lore. Nobody cares about that. I don't know what's going to happen with Dovetail. I don't know if Train Sim World is going to have the same kind of loyalty as the Train Simulator franchise. It's a different kind of game. I feel like I don't know, man. Maybe the world has kind of passed them by. But I don't know if Train Sim World is going to have, the 300 DLC and the loyal fan base, and I don't know. It feels like a different kind of game. It feels like a console game. When Odyssey came out, said my friends, yeah, it's, I don't know. I was watching the Rad Brad play Valhalla, and it was like 2 or 3 episodes in before they did a cutscene to the modern time. And it was kind of surprising because I'd gotten so sort of invested in the Viking story, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, great, this. Now who's trying to save the world? It's just, I don't know. I feel like it doesn't really fit anymore. Yeah, and it's, I don't care if a title is console specific or console centric, or it doesn't bother me at all. I know people get kind of elitist about that. I don't care. It doesn't bother me at all. But I do think, if you want to play a more realistic, more sim style of gaming, it sort of has to be on PC. So when a developer has a choice to make and they decide to make a console game and then port it to PC versus going the other way, I think you are going to lose some of that realism. There's just no way to get around it. I think being in flight sim as much as I have been has kind of ruined train sim for me, because I want the trains to be as accurate. I want study grade trains, like we have study grade aircraft, and the trains are as finicky as they are. At the same time, they're sort of dumbed down, and I think it's because TSW2 was more of a console title. Yeah, Ubisoft they're just cranking out titles now. And then you got Rockstar releasing a title every 6 years, 7 years. No, it'll be done when it's done. We're not going to rush it. I've seen a lot of those arguments with with Division 2 and the way the gear is now, that people want more loot. They want different kinds of loot. They want a lot of variety. And then the devs release a title update that has a ton of weapons in it. And the players are like, these are all the same. These are exactly the same. But I think they have to be, because if you were to release one meta weapon, then everybody would just play that. So it's like they do need to be balanced, but what you end up with is mostly just cosmetics. They all perform exactly the same. And that's if you don't get into all the magic. Because at its core, Division 2 is tabletop game. It's Dungeons and Dragons. So you got all these weird modifiers, plus 10 to this, minus 25 to that. So you get these goofy weapons. I have one called the Backfire. It's a submachine gun. It has amazing hitting power, but every time you reload it, you start to bleed. Okay. It just seems so contrived and silly. So I think that's what they do to encourage people to try different weapons, and so you're not just playing, everybody's not playing with the same system, the same setup, because that's the meta rig. Yeah, I agree, Foxy. I do. And I think because Train Sim World 2, from the time it was launched, it was clear that it was a console title. I mean, that's the same complaint that people had about Flight Simulator 20, is that this is a console game. This is not a flight sim. This is a fun VFR game where you go third person and just do loops. And it's like, yeah, but if that's what people want, why wouldn't we make a game for them? So if you're a serious sim pilot, that's very disappointing for you, because people waited, 14 years for that? So I think it is disappointing for the serious sim pilots, but Asobo's trying to make money, and that game made a lot of people happy. Made a lot of console players very, very happy. They love it. So why wouldn't they make that game? Yeah, I agree. And that's, it's easy. Elitism, I think, can creep into anybody's opinion. And so I really make an effort to remind myself that the way that I like to game is not the only way to game. And if a developer or studio wants to make a game for a different type of play style, that's not bad. It's just not for me. Or if you want to play a more casual play style, there's nothing wrong with that. Might not be how I play, but there's nothing wrong with it. So I see too much of that on forums. I see too much of that on Reddit, that if you don't play a game exactly the way somebody else plays it, you're playing it wrong. And I don't agree with that. Plenty of different ways to play. What? Hang on. Let's try it again with the spreader turned on. There we go. Yep. It's a cool title. Let me know what you think of it. It is a little bit dry, I have to say. If you like Project Cars 2, it will seem a little bit dry, but it is much more accurate. It's a lot more of a simulator than a game. Oh. That would be, after Cyberpunk, and I feel like Star Citizen is... people are beginning to become concerned about Star Citizen. And let's just confirm here. Yep. I'm hearing concerns about Star Citizen, and I think if Cyberpunk could be less than what people expected. If Star Citizen is looking like it may be less than people expect, what would happen if GTA 6 was not what people expected? Driving off the road here trying to read. Star Citizen. Yeah, I feel like 18 months ago, Star Citizen was flawless. It was a miracle. It was going to be the most amazing thing ever. And now I hear beta players that are like, I'm concerned. So we'll see what Star Citizen turns out to be. Knowing Rockstar and knowing how good GTA 5 was, I'm really curious what GTA 6 is going to be. I feel like expectations are unbelievably high, to the point where it may be impossible for any studio to ever make anything that tops GTA 5. But what if they do? You know, what if it's that good? So we'll see. All right, so we'll drop that right there. Yeah, that's the hardest part, is trying to manage people's expectations. And when you're talking about a franchise title, you know, let's zoom in a little bit. I like drone cam, but we're like satellite cam. We don't need to be that high. All right, so if we come back here now, what did you think of Red Dead? I thought that was, I was very impressed by it. I didn't play it. I watched other people play it, but I thought that was great. Okay, so fertilizing is all done. And now we need weeds. That's going to be here. Now we need weeds. We need 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Let's get a sprayer. So hop out here. We'll do some store deliveries. Everybody that I know that played single player said it was amazing. I have heard people say that multiplayer was a little bit, nah, you know, a little bit, nah, not so much. Ooh, here we go. Let's try this. Let's go 18 meter, because these fields are kind of small and bumpy. So we'll, no, let's buy it. Let's buy it. We'll use it. And then the tank as well. Went back to your camp to sleep. Yeah, that it struck me as very much. I mean, we say RPG, and it means a certain type of game, but Red Dead struck me as a game where you actually play a role. Seven of 10. Yeah, I mean, I didn't see anything when I was watching people play it. I didn't see anything that turned me off to the game at all. But I wasn't playing it. I was just watching people play it. Yeah, you know, I sort of roleplay in everything, like in farm sim and flight sim. I sort of take it a little too far, to the point where something like, we need to go here now, and we need herbicide. Yep, let's just do 3 of these and get it over with. Something like Division 2 is a game where you're supposed to die a lot. I don't like dying ever. Now, they do have a YOLO mode, but I find that I don't like dying at all when I play video games. And sometimes that's not, you can't play the game, you can't finish the game unless you're willing to take chances. So it's tricky for me sometimes. Yeah, I mean, I don't think, just the fact that it doesn't have the same reputation and it didn't have the same sales, regardless of what you think about Red Dead 2, it didn't take the place of GTA 5 at the top of the list. It's still a game with, not flaws, but you know what I mean? It's just not, it doesn't have that top spot. So let's start with 120. You know, I've heard a lot of people say that poker in Red Dead is almost as good as poker in real life. Skyrim or Fallout 4? Yeah, Skyrim is... I feel like Skyrim, that is its own category almost. That's a really different kind of game. Can we... I don't even know this map all the way around yet. Can we get there this way? Maybe. Sir? Yeah, I think we can go around. I feel like Skyrim is its own genre. And, I mean, Fallout is, in a way, its own kind of genre, but I don't know. Maybe less so. I just feel like Skyrim needs to be... It's like it almost needs to be measured against itself because there's not really a whole lot else like it. It seems like we're driving randomly. We're not. We're trying to get to a specific place. Here we go. Yeah, a lot of people agree with you, Fred. It is... I don't know. It's of a different era than World of Warcraft. You know, World of Warcraft, I think, will always be the title that people think of when they think of, like, an MMORPG. But Skyrim is, for what it is, just the scale of it. I don't know, Final Fantasy, maybe? I don't know if there's anything quite that big or that good. All right, here we go. Let's get some spraying done here. All right, we're spraying weeds. Why are they not dying? Did we wait too long? I think we may have waited too long. Yeah, I think these weeds are permanent. Okay. Well, we're still living and learning, figuring it out. Yeah, it's not even really... We're spraying, but the volume in our tanks isn't really even dropping at all. We can do this too. Hang on. If we take a look here... Yeah. So I think we waited too long to spray. So let's get out of here. Head back to the farm. We'll drop this stuff off. We'll work potatoes a little bit more, and then maybe we'll finish up with some cultivating. Yeah, you're right, Fried. I waited too long. I was all about those potatoes. We probably lost, I'd say conservatively, we lost, I don't know, probably $250,000 on those potatoes. It was fun to play with the DLC, but I don't know how people make money with them. I'm also... Are you seeing this? You can see the grass moving from the booms, even though the booms are folded. You can see the grass pushing out of the way. Oh, giants. Yeah, you're right. This is the fun one. Western Shore is the grind. That's why we're not on Western Shore today. I needed a break. I love that map, but it is the way we're playing it with seasons. It can be super, super grindy. Just wasn't in the mood for that today. I really thought it was going to be Kerbal. I got the thumbnail made and everything, but then we ended up not needing to rescue the way that I thought we would. Alright, so let's get back down here. Man, just in base game and DLC, there is so much equipment in this game now. In 19, there's an unbelievable amount of Giants equipment. To the point where, I'm not saying you could play without mods, but you could almost play without mods. When the grass is loading too late. I don't know exactly what that means. All right, so we'll leave that there. But, oh, all right, we got out. Is there anything else we can do? No, we can't fertilize. We already threw lime. let's go work potatoes a little bit. We'll fill that trailer one more time, and then come down here, dump it, and call it. And I'm going to use that as an opportunity to have some water because I'm getting dry. Hang on, be right back. Playing without mods? Yep. I took a look on ATS the other day, and I've got a few light mods. The Sissel trailer pack, and then the rest is skins. I'm only running, I don't know, 8 or 10 mods. And and I'm wondering, you know, is the era of modding beginning to wind down? Are we past peak mod? And I have a feeling we are in all types of games. And I'll be better with weeds when we plant our next crops. I think with seasons you just get not lazy, that's not the right word for it, but you know what I mean? You don't have to be as diligent about it because the weeds arrive more slowly. Look at this thing, it's still emptying. Sir. All right, here we go. And I think we can make it maybe all the way around. We'll see how many more times we have to fill that thing. The main thing I like about playing without mods is the game is so much more stable. All games, all titles. More mods, more problems. And I really didn't think that, I mean, I knew there was payware content, but I really didn't think that X-Plane was as moddable a title as it is. But so much of the content that I've added is what I would think of as mods. You know, free plugins and terrain mesh and a lot of things that there's really no other way to describe them. They're not payware. And they don't install in the scenery or aircraft folder. They go in the plugin folder. So they're mods. There's no other way to describe it. And I would not have thought, flight simulators always seem like more sophisticated. So I would not have thought a flight sim would have that many mods running. On the flight simulator side, on the FS19 side, I do think it's all strictly payware or freeware content, but I don't think there are mods per se. I think it's all stuff that gets downloaded like through the interface. It's nothing you're dropping in folders on your own. So that's what I typically think of when I think of flight sim mods or flight sim upgrades. I'm really I feel like it's been too soon. Maybe I should wait till August. Maybe I should wait till it's been 1 full year for MSFS20 before I buy any payware aircraft. Because I feel like my expectations are so high now with some of the aircraft that I got for X-Plane that I would just be completely disappointed if it wasn't like a full-blown study grade, you know, the whole deal. I would expect the same thing. Downloaded pro mods? Yeah. I mean, in some ways. Have you been through Basel yet? Because there are some cities, they say they're trying to fix them. Well, the big lie. The big lie is that pro mods does not affect your FPS at all. And that's just ridiculous. It's good. It's very well built, but it does impact your FPS. And there's some cities where it absolutely kills your FPS. But the thing that I really notice in both ETS and ATS now is you can really spot the older parts of the game. You can spot the original content that was built by SCS because it's just built to an entirely different standard. It's very cartoony, feels very much like an arcade game, does not feel like a realistic simulator. I mean, the whole franchise I think we can admit is not a realistic simulator, but you know what I mean. Yep, I've heard that about ProMods. And I sort of want to get ProMods Canada, but I'm holding off on that. But yeah, ProMods is amazing. I don't know how they do it and then give it away. Every time, I'm not using it right now, but every time I've downloaded it in the past, I do the paid download, try to give them €1. And I guess you can donate more, so I guess I could give them more than €1. But that's an amazing mod. It's like the Zevo mod for X-Plane. How do you give that away? You know, when you've got people selling an inferior product for €70, how do you give away an amazing aircraft like this for free? How do they give away ProMods? How is that even possible? My theory is that SCS was paying them, maybe not like an hourly rate or a contract rate or anything, but my theory is that SCS was paying them as a way to have additional content for the game without having to get into a whole lot of staff and everything. I feel like ProMods was, and this is just speculating. I have no idea if this is accurate or not, but I feel like that was how SCS was able to have additional content for the game for free. They weren't paying full price for a development team, but people didn't have to pay for additional content to have a big map. So I'm curious if as the in-game map, the base game map, and the DLC map continues to expand out, I'm curious if ProMods gradually becomes unnecessary, you know, kind of irrelevant. All right, so now I'm less than confident that this is going to work, but let's give it a try. So if we put this on a smart worker, let's see how they do. Yep, I've heard that, Fried. It's a big project. It's Canada now is where ProMods Europe was like 5 years ago. Because I remember the first time I downloaded it, it was less than impressive. All right. What kind of turns do we want? Not that one. That one. And over here we want wait during onload off. Manual steering. Everything looks good. All right, here we go. And where are we at on time? 97 minutes? Yeah. I wouldn't mind going a little bit longer, but I think we're sort of out of tasks. The only thing we've got is to finish this ridiculous potato field. Sir? Okay. All right, there he goes. I mean, right. So about that AI. Jesus. All right, stop. Come on now. Yeah, I don't know what long-term plans SCS has. I don't know if they're focused more on continuing to build DLC for this title or having a second title. Or I guess a third title for ETS. Neither one would surprise me. I do think at some point they have to come off Prism 3D. You just can't continue to let that game run on a 20-year-old engine. All right, let's try again. All right, here we go. I have a feeling I'm going to be finishing this field mostly manually with that tiny little header. But what else can you do? I don't want to turn everything under. I thought about that. I thought about just plowing everything under, but I don't want to do that. We put all the time and effort into... Oh, really? They just went to the end of the row and stopped. All right. Now I'm sort of... I wouldn't say mad, but now I'm like... I really want to get this working. All right, let's try a couple things here. Let's do this. Let's do this. Let's empty first. And this may be just about full by the time we get done with that. Yep, that is... You're not the only person that feels that way. I know a lot of people are asking already, like, is the next game going to require me to buy all this DLC again? Because the other thing would be, the other possibility would be if the next game has all those areas in base game, and that would be, I think, really, really expensive for SCS to develop. And also, they'd sort of be taking money out of their own pocket, because if you buy the game and it has all of Western Europe, or if you buy the game and it's got all of the United States or all of Canada or both, then you're not going to be buying anything else. So you can either buy the game for, you know, $100+ up front, or you can buy it for 30 and then buy a dozen DLC, or however it works out. So I don't think they could release the game with all of Western Europe or all of the United States on day one, both because of time and also money. But if they don't do that, if they release it as like they did before, if it's Germany, Belgium, Holland, Luxembourg, whatever, and then they add other countries later, it means people need to buy all that DLC again. And that is, people are not going to be happy about that. But the thing is, if you rebuild the game so it's not running on Prism anymore, then obviously all that DLC would not work anymore. And the perfect compromise would be if they could patch the game over to Unreal and have all the DLC still work. It would certainly get them loyalty from their fan base like no other developers ever had. I just don't know if it's possible to do that, either technically or economically. Like, if they could do that, is that really the smart play, or should they release that as a new title and sell it for money? Because I love them. I love SCS. Everybody loves SCS, but they are a business, and businesses exist to make money. So as nice as it would be for them to just give us the next title in the franchise, they might have to sell it to us. All right, and I'm trying to make some room to turn here. Is that working? Yeah, that's making a little bit more room up top. So this may be able to do lengths. I don't know. I hope it can, because I really don't want to do this field manually, but I might have to. Oh yeah. And I mean, it could be something as simple as that they just release a bus DLC or a bus title, right? They release a bus simulator European Bus Simulator. I guess somebody else owns Bus Simulator at this point, but you know what I mean. Release that as a standalone title. It's got all the content already. Like, they've got all the maps done. They've got the licensing agreements with various heavy equipment companies. So they wouldn't, I'm not saying they wouldn't need to do anything, but you see what I'm getting at. The maps are already done. The cities are already built. Everything's all ready to go. But instead of it being a bus DLC for Truck Sim, call it, give it a new title and sell that for $60. That's a nice way to make some money. And I know they got bills to pay, right? They're up to 200 people. And with COVID and everything else, it's a tricky time to be running a business. Oh, look at that. We're at 99%. Perfect. So I think what I might do here is, and our trailer is like 99% full as well. Yep, I think our trailer's, if not completely full, it's obviously nearly full. There we go. There's 100%. So I'm going to pull this off to the side. 105 minutes. Yeah, let's just go ahead and call it. We'll take this down to the barn. We'll dump it, and then I'll finish this off camera. So let's hop in here. And this trailer is 35,000 liters. 35,000 liters. So we've got 70,000 liters of potatoes in the barn and another 20,000. You know what? Let's go sell these. Hang on. Where can we sell potatoes? What do we get for a trailer of potatoes? And there's a lot of sell points on this map. Wow. Potatoes. It's looking like 356 is the best price. 365. 400. Do I hear 5? Nope. 400 at the Nitsley stores. Where's the Nitsley stores at? Nitsley. Nitsley stores. Nitsley stores. Okay. Well, I mean, it's not the absolute furthest corner of the map, but it's close. So if we just take the main road over and then take the final left. Okay. I'm glad, Fred. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. Yeah, the thing that I'm realizing, and I think this could be like the whole key to success, live stream, whether it's YouTube, Twitch, whatever. I think you just have to be having a good time. I don't know how these, the streamers that I watch on Twitch that play Tarkov, I mean, that game is mentally fatiguing. That game will wear your mind out. I don't know how they do it for like 6 and 8 hours every day. I really love Tarkov. Even if I was good at it, I don't know that I could play it 6 or 8 hours a day, every day. So I wonder sometimes. They're laughing and having a good time. But are they? Are they really? So I was going to do Kerbal today, but I realized as I was getting set up, yeah, man, I'm not into this. This is not what's on my mind. I don't know why 19 kind of, I don't know. Just seemed like a better fit. But this is what I wanted to stream, so let's do it. All right, back through town. Carefully. We're not running any physics mods, but I feel like the tractors have a much better, they're giving me like a much better feeling of weight compared to when the game first dropped. We're back here now. We can get there. We can get there this way too. Or can we? No, I don't think we can. That's all one way. We can go up this way. I don't think we can. We gotta go down. Gotta go down here. I'm trying to look at the mini map, and Those roads up top, I think they may be, if it's like a dual carriageway, motorway. Yeah, I agree. And it's tricky because there are, you know, the racing titles, X-Plane. There are titles that I know the videos don't do nearly as well, the streams don't do nearly as well. So it's not like I want to force content on you that you obviously don't want to see. But at the same time, I don't always want to be playing games even if I'm not in the mood for that particular title on that day. So there is a balance, and I'm all about balance, not just in gaming, but in life. I think balance is the secret. So I always try to balance it. Try to find things that you're into, that you're going to enjoy, but also things that I'm in the mood to stream that day. And there are definitely, I've got, I think, 60 titles in my library at the moment. So there are plenty of other sim titles that we can continue to explore carefully. And we haven't streamed Train Sim World 2 for a while. There's going to be there's a UK high-speed rail dropping on the 4th? 6th? I don't know. Soon. There's a UK high-speed we're going to stream on the day that drops. I think. Because there have been several DLC that dropped that I did not get, so I've broken the spell that Train Sim World 2 had on me. I used to get every DLC they released, pre-ordered it, pre-release, sight unseen, I would buy it, but I'm not doing that anymore. Yeah, and I've seen streamers not quite have a complete meltdown while they're streaming, but you can tell they really just want to, you know, just rip the Ethernet cable out of the wall and smash their keyboard through the monitor. They're over it. They're completely over it, and I would never want to get to that point. I love gaming too much. I love gaming so much that it's easy to step away from it now and then so that I can continue to love it. I wonder if vehicle control add-on is what's making the vehicles seem kind of heavy, you know? Because this is 35,000 liters of potatoes. That's not light. But the tractors at the moment have a really nice feel to them that I don't remember from base game. It could be VCA. All right, and where's our sell point? Where are we? Oh, we turned too early. That's fine. We can get there this way. We turned a little bit too early. All right, so we'll make this right. Yeah, and that's, I mean, it cuts both ways because I've never made a dime doing this. And I would like to. I really would. I don't think I'm going to make a fortune, but I would like to be able to say that I made money playing video games. Even if it's just $20, I'd like to be able to say that. But the flip side is, once you start making money doing something, now it's a job. And somebody like the Rad Brad is making a couple $1,000,000 a year. I think it's easy to say, well, you know, of course he can enjoy games. He's making a couple $1,000,000 a year, but that's not how work works. That's not what life is like. If you're not enjoying what you're doing and you're making millions of dollars to do it, now you really have to keep doing it. Doesn't matter how much you're getting paid. If you don't like it, you don't like it. So I wouldn't mind making some money doing this. But I'm glad that I'm not, because that means the only obligation I have is to enjoy what I'm doing and try to make absolutely the best possible content that I can for you. And there's no other pressure. It's not complicated by money. So we'll see. And if I ever do make any money, we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. It's got to be VCA. because we're just barely making 10 miles per hour. It feels great though. It feels very, very accurate. Oh, thanks, Fried. I appreciate that. Yeah, I've talked to my girl about it, and we've sort of kicked some ideas around. And you know, I've said before in stream, there've been times in my life when I've been doing really, really well, really well, and there've been other times when I haven't been doing well at all, really not well at all. So I'm kind of sensitive to the fact that YouTube is free, and I've seen enough people on other streams say, you know, you got me through a really difficult time. That they haven't said it to me. I'm saying I've seen people say to other streamers, your content got me through a really difficult time. So I would hate to like paywall people, you know. I wouldn't feel 100% comfortable with that. And my girl, who's very pragmatic, was like, well, if you're going to ask people to subscribe, you have to paywall. Because if you don't, essentially what you're saying is, whether you give me money or not, you get exactly the same content. So we have yet to figure that out. But I think things like emojis, you know, if you become a member, you get access to specific emojis, or maybe you get content earlier than other people, but you don't get exclusive content. You just get it earlier, and then later it's released to everybody. To make it so, yeah, there is an appeal to becoming a subscriber, but you never feel like, you know, I'm not going to do this because it's not worth the money, or I don't have the money right now, or I just don't want to do this. You know, I don't know exactly how it's going to work out, but we'll figure it out when the time comes. Mostly, I never want it to turn into a business. And I think it's because we get the trigger here, but we're sort of nowhere. So let's see if we can, yeah, we keep the trigger when we're over this one. All right. So let's sell these. Here we go. And I noticed this thing doesn't tilt. It is unloads with a belt out the little gate. I think that's super, super cool. It does take a minute though, a little bit slower. Yeah, same, Fried. I think that's the best way to do it, because I look at the content, you know, stuff like AMAs. Oh, thanks, man. I appreciate that. I look at things like AMAs or early access to content or emojis, right? The stuff that I was mentioning a minute ago. And none of that stuff really matters to me. It's not, if I'm going to support a creator to get that sort of stuff, there's absolutely no value in having like limited edition emojis. I don't care. That's not why I'm supporting the creator. I'm doing it just to support them, you know, just to make a contribution. So we're almost there though. That will click over when we get to 1,000 subs. That'll click over. All right, we got 14 grand. I think that's technically the first money we've made on this map. We got 14 grand for that trailer. So I'd like to have 100,000 at the farm. So we've got 30,000 in the barn. We've got 20,000 in pallets. So we'll put another 30,000 in the barn. That'll be 100, and then everything else will sell. All right, so we're gonna come right down here. There we go. Beautiful. All right, where are we at on time? Look at that. 2 hours. How does it always work out that way? Exactly 2 hours. I don't know. It's a mystery. I certainly don't plan this stuff. I'm making it up as I go. All right. Thanks, everybody. I don't know what we're going to do tomorrow. Maybe we will do some curveball tomorrow, or I don't know, something else. Maybe I'll surprise you and we'll do some rally. I was thinking about that. Rally could work because it's only 5 or 6 minutes at a time. So I can mute the mic. You wouldn't have to hear the wheel or the paddle shifters. And then between stages, turn the mic back on. We could chat a little bit, and then I'd do another stage. I don't know. We'll figure it out. All right. Thanks, everybody. I appreciate you. You are awesome. See you tomorrow. Good night.